Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Why Relationships Matter in the Innovation Economy, a podcast by Goody Nation. I am Casey, and I am pleased to be able to bring you another amazing guest today, a founder from our Goody Nation community. We are going to be talking to one of those super dope founders, Shaun. Welcome to the program today.
Much love. Thank you, Casey. Appreciate it.
I would love to know about your origin story. How did you end up in the spot where you are today?
It's amazing. The other day I was thinking about how long I've been doing BRIDGEGOOD, and it's been 15 years. If you think about why relationships matter, I would not be here without the connected ecosystem of not just community leaders, but people that believed in my vision. So starting from the very beginning, I was a student, community college student to state student here in California, the Bay Area, Oakland to be exact. And I actually had very few resources. I was helping my mom out, a single mother immigrant with her furniture store in Oakland, California. I stayed local to help my mom out. From that experience, I just learned, wow, I'm going to graduate with no network, with very little resources in terms of inspiration and motivation, a pretty bad resume, and a portfolio that is all school projects. And for any creative designer, you know that everything I just mentioned is how you get a job. So I thought, how do I go about potentially solving this problem? How do I get the resources to make it happen?
Amazing. This is something that I'm sure a lot of students go through. What was that spark for you?
The great thing is I had a really good role model, my mom. She's an entrepreneur. So I really learned early on the importance of the hustle and that you really have no one to help you but yourself. So just getting on the grind and figuring out what I loved, and what I found out I really loved growing up was community. So I started a car club called Z Team Yossi way back in the day. That eventually inspired a movie called The Fast and the Furious, which was a great resume piece for myself. And then through that process, learned that I loved architecture and got my master's in architectural design. And during that process, right as I was finishing up my grad school, I met a rapper named Ray Love who grew up with Tupac Shakur and Mac Dre. And from that experience, learned the power of technology and how technology can change the world in positive or negative ways. And 30 million views in 1 year at the time, 2006 was 30 million views was a lot. Why don't we take this technology and use it for a powerful force? And then teamed with my own experience of having a lack of resources, how do we help inspire the next generation of designers through creativity, technology, and professional resources? So all of that kind of sparked my inspiration to start BRIDGEGOOD in 2009.
I love the combination of creator, technologist, community builder. It's a recipe for amazing things. I'm curious, this idea in 2009, was it the BRIDGEGOOD that exists today, or walk us through kind of like when you figure it out, I need to start something?
I love that question because people ask that all the time. Like, was it the same thing? Absolutely not. And in fact, when you start a company, it should sound silly. It should actually sound ridiculous. At that time, it was just technology for good. So Oakland's in the center of the Bay. You have San Francisco to the west. You have San Jose to the south. You have Richmond to the north. In Oakland, there was a lack of resources. In SF, that's where all the resources were. So I went to Oakland City Hall and I said, I want to start a nonprofit. Everyone laughed at me except for one lady named Kathy Littles, who gave me a list of people to contact. One of those people on the 20 pages of paper was Donald Tamaki, who ended up being our lawyer. And he heard my phone call and I left a message. And he said, hey, I want you to come to my law office in Union Square in San Francisco. And I was very nervous. I had never pitched an idea to anyone, let alone a lawyer that was prominent in the Bay Area. And I go out there, I pitched this idea. The deck was terrible, but he said, hey, look, Shaun, you have the passion. You have the drive. I want to see more Asian founders in the Bay Area of nonprofits. So he took this idea of tech for good, believed in me, and helped us get 501c3 incorporated into getting us launched.
So two things there stick out to me. The first is, man, it only takes one person to believe in the vision, but also the fact, and thank you for acknowledging that your first pitch deck was maybe not what I'm sure it is today. Could you talk a little bit more about these sort of initial, like, I don't know what this is, but still going out and sharing your ideas with other people?
Everyone has ideas. Everyone thinks they can do it. The people that make it are the ones that don't give up. I really meant I want to help Oakland. I want to help the community through technology. I didn't know what that looked like because I hadn't done anything at that point. All of these things that I knew I could make a difference in the Bay. And I think Donald Tamaki, having launched several nonprofits himself, Asian Health Services, which helps immigrants here in the Bay Area with free healthcare, he really had the track record and the resources that I didn't have. But he wanted to make sure whatever he's investing his time and money into would cultivate greatness. My biggest advice for any entrepreneur coming up is be about it. Like, if you really aren't excited, if you're doing this for money, stop and do something new. That excitement that I had back then, I have more today. Passion drives everything in combination with relationships.
Passion and relationships. Amazing. What are some of the programs or initiatives that you all are implementing now?
We went from very Oakland-based to now rebranding as BRIDGEGOOD in 2015, once we got a significant grant from google.org that really helped us think about how do we scale outside of Oakland in a way that keeps our mission of design for social good very pure. Inspire Oakland Design Challenge, which is basically amplifying the voices of young people in Oakland and the East Bay through 60-foot, 48-foot billboards, bus benches, and really getting students excited about BRIDGEGOOD. And then in terms of economic empowerment, jobs, and careers in tech, that's our UX design apprenticeship, which we've been running for about 7 years now. The whole idea is it's a 3-month UX design apprenticeship. So there are coaches that are volunteer professionals in the industry, everywhere from Google to Adobe. Another great champion of ours is Adobe, to formerly Twitter. Even Tesla has had UX designers come in and teach our students. Wells Fargo, the finance industry, really looking at design as a holistic ecosystem and getting those professionals to come into BRIDGEGOOD. So not only do the students get to learn from these educators, they get to go to different companies and learn what's relevant and current. And that's the key thing, is what's current. Really pivoting to that in-person interaction is what we're trying to do at BRIDGEGOOD.
How do you sort of use creative thinking, collaboration as a part of what you're doing to help inspire young people? You know, UX, there is a lot of sort of creative thinking and design thinking that's involved with it.
Art is for yourself. So you think about a painting, you paint yourself or you draw yourself on a sketch pad. So art is for yourself, design is for others. And I also have a term that I like to use is business design. So we have to think of design as business. And if you want it as a career, you have to generate revenue. So I think for me, it's not about art or design, because I think art is inherently part of design. It's under the umbrella of design. But I think it's about purpose. What is your why? And I think ultimately everything in your life, career and personal, will stem from your why. And most people do not know their why. So instead of, I'll give you a great example. So there's this tool called Figma. Tools are for the end of the design process. If you think about design sprints, if you think about design thinking, 95% is not the tool. It's the strategy, understanding stakeholders, really understanding the problem you're solving. And then you finally use a tool at the end. It could be Figma. Before that, it could be XD. Before that, Balsamic. Before that, Illustrator. Before that, pen and paper. Whatever you're building should solve a problem. I really believe the same thing as an individual, an entrepreneur. What is your why? What is the problem you're solving for your own life? What is it that you want to do 5 days a week for the rest of your life? These are deep questions. At BRIDGEGOOD, we really push creatives to think deeper than the surface level that I could Google or ChatGPT. So it's really looking at internal, what drives you, what motivates you, what inspires you.
How did you end up becoming a part of Goody Nation?
One of the friends that I know is a guy named Fonz Morris, who currently is a product design at Netflix. Shout out to Fonz. And he actually posted this opportunity to apply for the Tech Equity Collective, and everything that it stood for in terms of empowering Black students and Black creatives really inspired me to say, hey, we need to do a better job at this, right? And one of my early goals as an Asian entrepreneur was connecting the Asian and Black communities here in the Bay Area. So I thought this was the perfect opportunity to really hone in on that. So we applied and we got the grant. And more than the grant, and this is the key thing, is you find a founder like Joey, who I can relate to a lot in terms of his drive and motivation and inspiration. And I want to be around people like that. And I think Goody Nation is that. It's that ecosystem of passionate founders and also an outlet for me to grow even more. One thing about being a great leader or entrepreneur is you should never stop learning, and you should always have an open mind to new perspectives. And I think that's what Goody Nation brought to BRIDGEGOOD and to myself.
What are you looking forward to with BRIDGEGOOD, or if there are any like secret new things that are popping up? If you want to drop them here, you can.
Yeah, for me, it's not about the numbers and the quantity, it's about the quality. So really, how might we, in the spirit of UX, how might we impact the people that are involved with BRIDGEGOOD even more? How might we actually improve the quality of the current ecosystem? And then more importantly, the alumni that are going through BRIDGEGOOD, getting hired at Google, getting hired at Etsy, getting hired at Adobe, getting hired at all these different companies. Another one of our graduates got hired at US Bank yesterday in the UX research field. Expanding mindsets within our ecosystem, I think, is what I want to do even more. Really just think deeper instead of think surface level. So I would say BRIDGEGOOD is going to be ultra focused and just cancel out more of the noise. Focus should be the theme of 2024 and beyond for everyone. It's ultra focus.
2024, the year of ultra focus. How can people learn more about you and what you're doing?
Go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BRIDGEGOOD. What I love about the YouTube page is it's student voices. So you get to hear from the students and graduates themselves. And I think that's more important than my voice promoting myself. Or Google BRIDGEGOOD and just check out what the community is saying. I think that's the best way.
Folks, I mean, you heard it here, the recipe of creativity and tech and ecosystem building and wanting to do better for the community, combined with being passionate about your idea and doing it, whether it's perfect or not, telling people about it, sharing that passion. Ultra focus 2024. Start the hashtag, everyone, but attribute it to Shaun Tai because he just came up with it. If you would like more information about Goody Nation, please visit us at goodynation.org. And as our founder, Joey Womack, always says, stay magnetic and outwork yesterday.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
Peace.